Because back in World War II, at the end of World War II, the people did a real kind thing for veterans. They put a law that all veterans had to have a home to get government help, and they did that so no veteran would ever be neglected. But over the years, the politicians have used that law to sort of push veterans away so that they could use the money they're saving from paying the veterans. They could use it for pet projects, so the veterans have been sort of pushed out, and they get swept under the table now. And we're trying to change that. We're trying to give them a home to live in a place where they can practice their religious beliefs, to try to come home mentally as well as physically. And that's the whole purpose of the Veterans Resort Chapel, to give combat veterans the chance to come home.
And it sounds like your program has had quite a bit of success recently.
Since 2013, when we finished the chapel and the first tiny home above the chapel, we've helped 21 veterans so far. And most of them never even lived on the property. They came and they'd stop in and they'd spend nights when there was a storm or something in the chapel itself, sleeping on the pews and benches. And we keep food and stuff down there so that they can get something to eat and drink. And then they just move on and we never see them again. But we've helped 21 veterans so far. And Kaylee is one of them. She's living on the property now.
How does that make you feel to know you're helping so many homeless veterans?
I deserve no credit. I was homeless my first 3 years back from Vietnam. Another Vietnam veteran who I went to high school with that I had no memory of, because I have a traumatic brain injury and I remember nothing prior to leaving for Vietnam. So I don't remember my family or nothing. This veteran found me and recognized me from high school, brought me into his apartment, and then got me into the VA hospital where they discovered I had 4 disabilities free from combat and no medical care from the Marine Corps. So I started getting medical care. I went to UNH, met my wife at UNH, and we've been married for 35 years now. And then our 3 daughters in 2012 graduated with their master's degrees from UNH. And they suggested, my wife and 3 daughters suggested that if a veteran had never helped me, we never would have met and they would never have been born. So we should take our retirement and our savings, buy some property and start a nonprofit. So long after we're dead, we're still helping homeless combat veterans. And we bought the property and started the 501c3, and we put a contingency in the deed. The property can never be used for anything else but the religious needs and helping homeless veterans.
So why do you think there's such conflict with the town of Lee that you have to end up in court like this?
Because the town of Lee stated very clearly that we're a community of professors and UNH support staff, and we do not deserve homeless in our neighborhood. When I confronted them for saying such a stupid thing, they said, "Peter, you know as well as we that combat veterans are homeless is because they're all drug addicts and alcoholics, and we don't want them near our children." And so that's why they're against it. And they've done everything they can up to this point, including today, bringing us to court to try to evict the homeless veterans from the property.
What do you hope that the judge will decide after this hearing?
Well, what we're doing, the property is zoned for. So we're doing nothing illegal. The town is saying, by manipulating the facts, that combat veterans do not belong in Lee. So I'm hoping the judge will recognize the Constitution, separation of church and state. I have been a minister since 1980. My minister's degree is recorded in the Stratford County Deed of Records. And I have practiced the religion since 1980 by going around and finding homeless people on the streets at least 4 or 5 days a week. Whenever I find one that's a combat veteran, I buy them a McDonald's Happy Meal and a cup of coffee. And we talk about religion and how it can help them come back. And so when my daughters decided that we should do this, we put a chapel on the property, not for any zoning reasons or anything else. We put a chapel on the property and made it religious property for the fact that we wanted the veterans to have a place to go, because most people don't understand that combat veterans are very skittish about certain things. Noises, people coming up behind you and trying to tap you without recognizing that you need to be identified first. And we kill for that without thinking, because if you don't kill in combat, you're dead. And so I wanted them to have a chapel where they could go to and pray and talk to the God of their choice, so that they wouldn't have to be afraid of hurting somebody. And that's what this whole thing is about, trying to give them a place with integrity to come home, mentally as well as physically.
Thank you.